Quite a big change to your car for this event at Silverstone. So, firstly, how did it feel out on track?
It felt okay. It was different. It's tricky because everyone didn't do much running in FP1, and when you have an update, you require mileage. So we haven't had much track time today. We had a slight issue as well at the end of P2, so we didn't do a proper long run. But we did maybe 6 or 7 time laps, and every time we were on track, at least, we were looking pretty strong. It's good because sometimes the updates require a big setup change. We do need one. There is still things we need to work on, but it should be hopefully achievable overnight, and we can get the car in a better window tomorrow.
Looking towards qualifying then tomorrow afternoon, what are your real hopes and indeed realistic expectations for this very heavily updated car?
Yeah, well, hopes are we get the car in a good window. I think if we can get the balance in a place where I can use the car and push it and get confident in it, then that's in itself a good achievement. Of course, if you look at it on a more ones and zeros point of view in terms of positioning, Q2 would be an obvious target for us. So I think that would be a sensible place to hope for.
Well, P14 in free practice 2, the only dry session, looks like that might be realistic. Have you had a look at Nicholas's data at all?
Yeah, we have. Obviously we've got different cars out there. It's very wind sensitive. Just with these gusts, it's been really tricky to drive. So it's actually been quite useful to have that kind of collection of data, because I think if you had both cars on the same setup, you'd have most probably gone, okay, well, this feels a bit tricky. This is a tough one to drive, but Nicky's saying the same thing, so it's not like, and I'm sure it's the same down the paddock. So yeah, it's one of them things which has been quite a good thing to have.
Very muddled day today with a very wet first session and a very dry second session. How's that affected your day?
Yeah, it's been very strange for everyone. I guess, unfortunately, it wasn't more wet than FP1, because I think if it was more wet, more people would have driven. The problem is, it was kind of that half-half conditions, and everyone has, I guess, a bit of an eye on tomorrow where there's some more rain expected, so not wanting to destroy a set of inters that we might potentially need to use. So that's always unfortunate for the fans that come out here when it's like that, and you don't get the car circulating on the track, but that's was the same for everybody. And yeah, it just meant FP2 is all the more important. Most likely the only dry session we're going to have before practice session we're going to have before qualifying and the race. So yeah, it was kind of important to get a bit of everything in, your low fuel, high fuel. Very, very windy out there today, so that I think affected a lot of people. Yeah, very, very extreme conditions. Especially with these new cars that are already so much more on edge, very high speed, exposed track. Yeah, it was quite twitchy out there. So I think we have some understanding and homework to do today to try and get a bit more of a drivable feeling tomorrow.
But from a driver's point of view, sort of greasy circuit, low grip, little bit twitchy, that looks like a lot of fun for us watching on the TV screens.
Yeah, it probably looks like fun. It's not as fun to drive, but it's actually like this track is a very high grip surface. Obviously FP1, I only did the install, and yeah, it felt very greasy. But in FP2, the grip is actually very, very high, and especially when you get the corners where you're going into the headwind, the grip is crazy. But the problem is when you kind of break that grip, it just feels like you're going off a cliff, and car completely snaps. Not a lot of drifting going around, more just big snaps. At least with our car, I don't know what it's like for everybody else out there. So yeah, there could maybe definitely be some exciting moments to watch for the fans tomorrow.
Now, looking across the garage, your teammate Alex has a very different looking Williams here at Silverstone. I know you're sharing data and doing a comparison side to side. What elements of that car do you like the look of, and what elements of your car would you rather keep?
Well, I wasn't a fan of the very fluorescent red livery he sported in practice. I saw that when he drove by me, and I guess I did a full fluorescent green one in winter testing, so we had to have both ends of the spectrum. But no, it's obviously there's some obvious differences to the cars, and I think it's being the first proper session, there's still a lot to understand. But I'm definitely watching that side of the garage this weekend, and once I've done all my stuff with a keen eye, because I know I'm going to be getting those upgrades in a few races time. So it's been a bit of a longer wait than I guess anyone would have wanted in the team to get some upgrades finally on the car, and I think we're all just very keen and hopeful and optimistic that they do what they're supposed to do. But for me, it's just kind of getting on with my weekend as usual. I don't have that one reference that I normally have with someone driving the same car. So it's just focusing on myself and trying to optimize what we can.